Hello and welcome back. We see that you're already beginning to make progress on your simulated case. Of course, you started with those two pieces of evidence, the spontaneous transmittal and the newspaper article. And from that, you've gathered your first piece of evidence. As we mentioned, we don't want you to move too far along until we show you a process that you can use to help keep all of your evidence organized and make a list of it so that it's quickly retrievable, and you can also use this process to organize it in such a way to help you prove violations, to help you get information ready that may be required to give to the defense. So this particular sheet that we have provided for you is called our evidence log. And the evidence log is used to record all of the evidence that you gather during your case. So let's take a look at how we actually fill in the information here. The first column you see says document number. In here, you would simply put down the number of the piece of evidence that you just got. For example, you've already received document 1, so I'm going to put a 1 in there. You've already received document 4, so I'll put a 4 there. And maybe the next piece of evidence that you received was evidence number 8, so I'll put an 8 there. Now we need to fill in the rest of the information. Who's the witness for document number 1? Secondly, you should put in a keyword description. In other words, you might want to put newspaper article or article relating to corruption. Whatever you want to put in there, just a couple of words, because when you use the find feature later on, this is going to become extremely valuable if you've got keywords that you can refer back to. We're also going to show you how to create a hyperlink. So you can simply click on this cell and that piece of evidence will pop up immediately. And then for these next 3 columns, you can use these to help retrieve relevant information later. For example, if this piece of evidence related to proving your money laundering violation, you can simply put yes in there. If it related to a particular asset that you're going to forfeit, you can simply put the name or description of that asset. Something simple: boat, Mercedes, land. Something that very simple, and when you want to search for it, it'll come up immediately. If it relates to a corruption violation, you could put in the article number here, or you could just put yes, but you need to be consistent for the searching. And the last column, if you've got additional comments, you can put those comments down. Again, very important, because we're going to show you in just a moment how you can use the search feature to find all this information later on. I can remember that when I was conducting investigations at the beginning of my career, we filed everything in folders, as you probably do today, but I might have had 300 folders. We had no computers to keep track of everything. When I wanted to find something, I had to remember, did I file that under his name, under the violation, under the type of asset? And I would spend, without exaggerating, maybe an hour searching through my folders. With this technique, you can find it within 30 seconds without a doubt, because you've set it up so that it's very searchable. Let's take a look at a completed evidence log to give you some demonstrations on how this can be used. So I'm going to click on the tab at the bottom and go to a completed one, and I find out that this particular evidence log, if you scroll down, has many, many entries. More than 100 pieces of evidence have been gathered. In fact, I think almost 200 pieces of evidence. So this is going to take a long time to find our information if we don't have some system to organize the evidence. So as you can see how this has been filled out, very simply, the document number, and it's record the document number that's on that document. Don't change the document number, don't assign it as you receive it. I'm going to go back to the other tab for just a moment. You notice We have 1, and then we have 4 and 8. You don't need to worry about putting them in numerical order. We can do that at any time with the computer. So don't change the assigned number. So looking back at a completed one, let's say we're at the end of our investigation and now we want to gather all the evidence to show that a particular asset should be seized and confiscated. Well, how long is that going to take? We're going to have to look through all these files and see where we put that evidence. What if we use this evidence log and we listed, for example, it's the Mercedes we're looking for. How many pieces of evidence have Mercedes? Well, just the fact that we listed on that piece of evidence in the notes column under asset forfeiture, we put Mercedes, that helps. But it's even easier than that. What if we use that sort function again? And we say sort in ascending order. Oops. I had the cursor there. We're going to put the cursor at the top. And we've instantly sorted that column. And now we can see that all of the information regarding the Mercedes is going to be found right there. How long did that take us? 15 or 30 seconds? And we've got all the information that we need to seize and confiscate that Mercedes. So this tool is amazing in terms of giving you anything you want quickly. Let's say that we want to find a particular witness, and maybe we have interviewed that witness more than one time. How could we do that without even sorting? Maybe the name of the witness was Sally Smith. We can simply go up, if you look to the top right-hand corner, the search function. I'm going to type in Sally Smith, and then I'm simply going to hit the little arrow button, and it shows me there's the next place Sally Smith is found, which is document 83. I click it again. We interviewed her again in document 44. I click it again. It jumped to document 122. And now we're back to the beginning at document 5. So again, in 15 to 30 seconds, we found Sally Smith and all of the documents in which she was interviewed or mentioned. So we can find any information in any of these documents as long as you filled out the log and put in the keywords so that we can find exactly the information we want to find. Maybe you want to put in a column for what we call discoverable information. If your country's legal system requires that prior to trial, you turn over all the relevant evidence, what's called discoverable evidence, to the defense, you could have had a column that said discoverable and just put a yes in there. And if it was the type of evidence that fit what was required in the discovery, one click of the button to organize it, and you'll have all the S's or all the yeses for discoverable evidence. And it tells you all the file numbers, you gather them up and provide copies to the defense. Amazingly easy. Very, very important tool. Simple tool, but very, very powerful. If you have any questions at all when you're completing this log, and I'm going to go back to the blank one that you're going to be using, just ask us at any time. Send us a message through the message tab, but you also have the sample log as a reference. And you can click on that log at any time and see how that has been formatted and replicate that. Now, the very last thing I want to show you is what we call a hyperlink. So I'm going to hyperlink document number 1. And what does the hyperlink actually do? Once we create it in this particular cell, at any time we can click on that cell and it'll automatically bring that document up to us. We don't need to go searching around for it. Just click on it and we have it immediately. So let's show you the process. We put our cursor in there and then we do a right click. And it gives us a menu. And you're going to see that one of the menu items at the bottom is called hyperlink. We click on that, and it gives us another menu. And it comes up, if you'll notice, highlighting, at least on mine, it comes up highlighting the email address tab. Well, we're not interested in email address. We're interested in hyperlinking this to a document. So I'm going to click on Document. You see where my cursor is? Click on Document. Now we get a little different screen, and it says on the first one where the globe is, it says select a file to link to. So we can push the select button, and it gives us a list over on the right-hand side of all of the evidences. And this is evidence 1. So I simply, and I'm moving my cursor around so you can see it, I simply select evidence 1. I say open. Then I say OK. And you'll notice that evidence 1.doc shows up in there. And it shows up highlighted in blue. Well, let's show you how that works now. I can move my cursor away from there. And now I want to pull up that document. I simply highlight that cell. I put my cursor in there. You notice the cursor changed. It turned into a hand. And I just click on that one time, and look what happened. It automatically brought up document 1. So you can look at it, review it, work on it any way you want. So I'm going to close this document quickly. Go back to your evidence tab, or excuse me, your evidence log. This is such a powerful tool, yet it's so simple. So if you have any questions at all, either refer to the sample log or send us a text message through the message tab. Now, let's continue working your case for probably the next hour until we send you a notice on the message tab to stop. Then we'll look at the next lecture. Good luck on following all the clues and finding the evidence.